I got you. Mr. Bozeman. Thank you. Mr. Bozeman, Mrs. Britt. Mr. Budd. Ms. Cantwell. Mrs. Capito. Mr. Cassidy. Ms. Collins. Mr. Coons. Mr. Cornyn. Ms. Cortez Masto. Mr. Cotton. Mr. Kramer, Mr. Crapo, Mr. Cruz, Mr. Curtis, Mr. Daines, Ms. Duckworth, Mr. Durbin, Ms. Ernst, Mr. Fetterman, Mrs. Fisher, Mr. Gallego, Mrs. Gillibrand, Mr. Graham, Mr. Grassley, Mr. Haggerty, Ms. Hassan, Mr. Hawley, Mr. Heinrich, Mr. Hickenlooper, Ms. Hirono. Did you hear that? Mr. Hoven, Mr. Husted, Mrs. Hyde-Smith, Ms. Lummis, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Justice, Mr. Kane, Mr. Kelly, Mr. Kennedy, Mr. Kim, Mr. King, Ms. Klobuchar, Mr. Lankford, Mr. Lee, Mr. Lujan, Ms. Lummis, Mr. Markey, Mr. Marshall, Mr. McConnell, Mr. McCormick, Mr. Merkley, Mrs. Moody, Mr. Moran, Mr. Marino, Mr. Mullen, Ms. Murkowski, Mr. Murphy, Mrs. Murray, Mr. Ossoff, Mr. Padilla, Mr. Paul, Mr. Peters, Mr. Reed, Mr. Ricketts, Mr. Risch, Ms. Rosen, Mr. Rounds, Mr. Sanders, Mr. Schatz, Mr. Schiff, Mr. Schiff, Mr. Schmidt, Mr. Schumer, Mr. Scott of Florida, Mr. Scott of South Carolina, Mrs. Shaheen, Mr. Sheehy, Ms. Slotkin, Ms. Smith, Mr. Sullivan, Mr. Thune, Mr. Tillis, Mr. Tuberville, Mr. Van Hollen. Gotcha. Mr. Warner, Mr. Warnock, Ms. Warren, Mr. Welch, Mr. Whitehouse, Mr. Wicker, Mr. Wyden, Mr. Young, Senators voting in the affirmative: Barrasso, Budd, Cornyn, Cotton, Crapo, Cruz, Ernst, Graham, Grassley, Haggerty, Kennedy, Lankford, Lummis, Marshall, McCormick, Moody, Marino, Mullen, Paul, Risch, Schmidt, Sheehy, Thune, and Tuberville. Senators voting in the negative: also Brooks, Bennett, Blunt Rochester, Cantwell, Cortez Masto, Hassan, Heinrich, Kane, King, Markey, Merkley, Ossoff, Padilla, Rosen, Schumer, and Smith. Mr. Justice? Aye. Mr. Kramer? Aye. Mr. Lujan?
No.
No. Mr. Whitehouse? No. Mrs. Blackburn? Aye. Mr. Kim? No. Mr. Durbin? No. Mrs. Capito? Aye. Mr. Cassidy? Aye. Mr. Rounds? Aye. Mr. Peters? No. Ms. Duckworth? No. Mr. Schatz? No. Mr. Husted? Aye. Mr. Hawley? Aye. He said, Mr. Ricketts? Aye. Mr. Wicker? Aye. Mr. Gallego? No. Ms. Klobuchar? No. Mr. Booker? No. Mr. Sullivan? Aye. Mr. Johnson? Aye. Ms. Warren? No. Mr. McConnell? Aye.
Yes.
Mr. Bozeman? Aye. Ms. Hirono? No. Mr. Lee, aye. Mrs. Gillibrand, no. Mr. Reed, no. Mr. Wyden, no. Mr. Hickenlooper, no. Mr. Scott of Florida, aye. Mr. Curtis, aye. Mr. Scott of South Carolina, aye. Mrs. Murray, no. Mr. Daines, aye. Mr. Welch, no. Mr. Banks, aye. Ms. Baldwin, no. Mr. Fetterman, no. Mr. Murphy, no. Mrs. Britt, aye. Thank you. Bye. Mr. Warner, no. Mr. Sanders, no. Mr. Schiff, no. Ms. Collins, aye. Mr. Blumenthal, no. Ms. Slotkin, no. Mr. Warnock, no. Mr. Van Hollen, no. Mr. Tillis, aye. Mrs. Fisher, aye. Mrs. Hyde-Smith, aye. Mr. Kelly, no. Mrs. Shaheen, no. Mr. Moran, aye. Mr. Hoven, aye. Ms. Murkowski, aye. Mr. Young, aye. Just Mr. Coons, no.
On this vote, the yeas are 53, the nays are 47. The decision of the chair stands as the judgment of the Senate.
Mr. President.
Majority Leader is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent that it be in order for the following senators to be recognized to offer amendments, motions, or points of order, that the amendments be reported by number with no amendments in order prior to a vote in relation to the amendments or motions. Schumer motion, number 1. Motion to commit on health care costs, Markey motion, and then Klobuchar motion. Point of order.
Okay. Without objection.
Mr. President, I make a point of order under Section 313B1B of the Congressional Budget Act against Title VII of Substitute Amendment Number 2360.
Under the Congressional Budget Act and the precedents of the Senate, the chair must rely on determinations made by the Budget Committee in assessing the budgetary effects of the amendment. Section 312 of the Budget Act states, for purposes of this title and Title IV, the levels of new budget authority, outlays, direct spending, new entitlement authority, and revenues for a fiscal year shall be determined on the basis of estimates made by the Committee on the Budget of the House of Representatives or the Senate as applicable. Unless the Budget Committee, speaking to its chairman, asserts that the amendment causes a violation of the Budget Act, the chair will not so hold. Therefore, Mr. Leader, the point of order is not well taken.
President.
Senator from Oregon is recognized.
I appeal the ruling of the chair, and I ask for the yeas and nays.
Is there a sufficient second? There appears to be. There appears to be.
There are now 2 minutes of debate, equally divided.
There are now 2 minutes of debate, equally divided. Senator from Oregon.
I ask the CBO letter of June 29 to the ranking member of the Budget Committee be submitted for the record.
Without objection.
And in this letter, it notes that the baseline was prepared, the alternative baseline, based on a request made by the chairman of the Senate Committee on the Budget. But the letter goes on to say this. The CBO estimates that enacting this title would increase the deficit by nearly $3.5 trillion over the 2025-34 period. Clearly, that amount, done by honest numbers from CBO, exceeds the budget resolution level, and therefore we should not affirm the ruling of the chair. It is said in this ruling, I just heard, that precedent provides a foundation for this. But in fact, the ability of the chair to create a phony baseline has never been used in reconciliation. Not ever. And in fact, the example cited over Head Start, that never appeared in any budget reconciliation. And in fact, that conversation about Jeffrey Zients that we heard from the Majority Leader, that too was absolutely wrong. Current law was used for estimating the cost of that bill. This
time has expired.
51-year tradition of the Senate.
The senator's time has expired.
Mr. President.
The leader is recognized. I'm sorry.
Senator from Idaho is recognized. Sorry. Mr. President, we're just rehashing the same old arguments, but I want to make something really clear. This Congress, in the budget resolution for this reconciliation, adopted the current policy baseline. CBO scored that current policy baseline. It said that our bill generates a $506 billion deficit reduction. The ranking member for the Budget Committee asked them to give it a new score based on a different baseline, the current law baseline, which says that we have to say that if we don't raise people's taxes, that we're causing a deficit. They said they would, they always do. They give the scores that different members of Congress ask them to give, and they gave that score and said, well, if you raise taxes by $4 trillion, then you will have a $4 trillion increase in tax revenue. That's what the whole debate is about, folks. You can complain and use different words and deficits and all that stuff. There is a CBO score on the baseline adopted by this Congress on this resolution that sets the score at $506 or $507 billion of deficit reduction.
Okay. Okay. The question is, shall the decision of the chair stand as the judgment of the Senate? The yeas and nays were previously ordered. The clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Alsop-Brooks, Ms. Baldwin, Mr. Banks, Mr. Barrasso, Mr. Bennett, Mrs. Blackburn, Mrs. Blumenthal, Mr. Blumenthal,
Blackburn on your left. I'm hoping.
Ms. Blunt Rochester, Mr. Booker, Mr. Bozeman, Mrs. Britt, Mr. Budd, Ms. Cantwell, Mrs. Capito, Mr. Cassidy, Ms. Collins, Mr. Coons, Mr. Cornyn, Ms. Cortez Mastel, Mr. Cotton, Mr. Kramer, Mr. Crapo, Mr. Cruz, Mr. Curtis, Mr. Daines, Ms. Duckworth, Mr. Durbin, Ms. Ernst, Mr. Fetterman, Mrs. Fisher, Mr. Gallego, Mrs. Gillibrand, Mr. Graham, Mr. Grassley, Mr. Haggerty. Thank you, sir. Ms. Hassan, Mr. Hawley, Mr. Heinrich, I got you, Senator. Mr. Hickenlooper, Ms. Hirono, Mr. Hoven, Mr. Houston, Mrs. Hyde Smith,
We need to get through that. Yeah.
Mr. Johnson,
I'm saying 904 applies to that. I'm saying
Mr. Justice, Mr. Kane, Mr. Kelly,
I need Graham to say it. I don't need it on the paper.
Mr. Kennedy, Mr. Kim, Mr. King, Ms. Klobuchar, Mr. Langford, Mr. Lee, Mr. Lujan, Ms. Lummis, Mr. Markey, Mr. Marshall, Mr. McConnell, Mr. McCormick, Mr. Merkley, Mrs. Moody, Mr. Moran, Mr. Moreno, Mr. Mullen, Ms. Murkowski, Mr. Murphy, Mrs. Murray, Mr. Ossoff, Mr. Padilla, Mr. Paul, Mr. Peters, Mr. Reed, Mr. Ricketts, Mr. Risch, Ms. Rosen, Mr. Rounds, Mr. Sanders, Mr. Schatz, Mr. Schiff, Mr. Schmidt, Mr. Scott of Florida, Mr. Scott of South Carolina, Mrs. Shaheen, Mr. Sheehy, Ms. Slotkin, Ms. Smith, Mr. Sullivan, Mr. Thune, Mr. Tillis, Mr. Tuberville, Mr. Van Hollen, Mr. Warner, Mr. Warnock, Ms. Warren, Mr. Welch, Mr. Whitehouse, Mr. Wicker, Mr. Wyden, Mr. Young. Senators voting in the affirmative: Banks, Barrasso, Blackburn, Britt, Budd, Cassidy, Kramer, Crapo, Cruz, Curtis, Daines, Ernst, Fisher, Graham, Grassley, Haggerty, Hawley, Hoven, Husted, Justice, Kennedy, Langford, Lee, Lummis, Marshall, Moody, Moran, Moreno, Mullen, Paul, Rounds, Scott of Florida, Sheehy, Thune, Tuberville, Wicker, Young. Mr. Cotton, aye. Senators voting in the negative: Also Brooks, Baldwin, Bennett, Blumenthal, Blunt Rochester, Booker, Coons, Cortez Masto, Duckworth, Durbin, Fetterman, Gallego, Gillibrand, Hassan, Heinrich, Hickenlooper, Hirono, Kane, Kelly, Kim, King, Markey, Merkley, Murphy, Murray, Ossoff, Padilla, Peters, Reed, Sanders, Schatz, Schiff, Schumer, Shaheen, Slotkin, Smith, Van Hollen, Warner, Warnock, Warren, Welch, and Wyden. Mr. Whitehouse, no. Mrs. Capito, Mrs. Capito, aye. Ms. Cantwell, no. Mrs. Hyde-Smith, aye. Ms. Klobuchar, no. Ms. Collins, aye. Mr. Lujan, no. Mr. Schmidt, aye. Ms. Rosen, no. Mr. Ricketts, aye. Mr. Rish, aye. Mr. McConnell, aye. Mr. McCormick, aye. Mr. Scott of South Carolina, aye. Mr. Johnson, aye. Mr. Bozeman, aye. Mr. Tillis, aye. Mr. Cornyn. Mr. Cornyn, aye. Ms. Murkowski. Ms. Murkowski, aye. Mr. Sullivan. Mr. Sullivan, aye.
I don't see how we can,
We voted.
yeah, I don't see how we cannot. Yeah. On this vote, the yeas are 53, the nays are 47. The decision of the chair stands as the judgment of the Senate.
Mr. President,
The senator from Idaho is recognized.
thank you, Mr. President. I ask unanimous consent that Senator Risch and I be permitted to speak for up to 1 minute each regarding the recent tragedy in our state.
Without objection.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Senate has important work to accomplish today to prevent a more than $4 trillion tax hike on American workers and families, and we will accomplish that goal. However, while business continues here, life for the North Idaho community of Coeur d'Alene remains at a very painful standstill as we mourn the horrific loss of 2 firefighters. Yesterday afternoon, firefighters from Coeur d'Alene and Kootenai County were responding to a fire on Canfield Mountain. Upon arrival, they were ambushed by gunfire. 2 brave firefighters were murdered. Another has already undergone surgery for gunshot wounds. As we continue our work today, I ask my colleagues to join me in sending your prayers for that firefighter's full recovery, for the deceased victims, for their families, and for the entire North Idaho community grieving this heinous act. Senator Risch.
Thank you. Mr. President, fellow senators, while the Senate continues our important work to provide the American people with the largest tax cut in history today, we would be remiss if we did not pause for a moment and call attention to the tragic events that happened in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho yesterday. While responding to a fire, as my colleague indicated, two of North Idaho's brave firefighters were ambushed and murdered, and one is in serious to critical condition. This evil attack on the people who dedicate their lives to protecting and serving our communities is despicable, and it's not Idaho. I ask my Senate colleagues to join me, Senator Crapo, and all Idahoans in praying for the victims, their loved ones, and all who have been affected by this reprehensible act. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator from Washington is recognized.
I stand with my Idaho colleagues. This is a very tight-knit community between Washington and Idaho. Many Washington police and responders participated in yesterday's activities. Our hearts go out to the people of Idaho, and yes, we want a moment of silence to remember these firefighters.
Thank you, and thank you to Washington for your help. You did send a number of first responders there, which were very helpful. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Mr. President.
Senator from Washington is
Mr.
recognized.
President, I too just want to stand and join with our colleagues from Idaho with our deep sorrow for everyone in those impacted communities. It is close to the border of Washington. Many of our responders joined with all of you, and our hearts and thoughts go and prayers go to everyone impacted. That community will be devastated for a long time to come.
Thank you. And as we close, I would just like to thank my colleagues from Washington, as well as all of you. Many of you have come up and expressed your sentiments today. And I would say even the federal workers were there, the FBI and others. There was a huge influx of support from those who put their lives on the line every day, and some lost their lives yesterday. And so because of that, I just ask that you join us for just a moment of silence and prayer. President.
Thank you.
Mr. President,
Senator from New York is recognized.
I have a motion to commit at the desk.
Clerk will report.
The senator from New York, Mr. Schumer, moves to commit the bill H.R. 1 to the Committee on Finance, the Senate, with instructions to report the same back to the Senate in 3 days, not counting any day which the Senate is not in session.
I ask that further reading of the motion be dispensed with.
Without objection.
Mr. President, can we have order, please? This amendment, the first we will offer, is simple. It undoes the travesty that is at the core of the Republican bill. Their bill, the so-called Big Beautiful Bill, which is really a big, ugly betrayal, cuts taxes for billionaires by taking away health care from millions of people. So my amendment simply says, if people's health care costs go up, the billionaire tax cuts vanish. Republicans, you can tell in their speeches already, are on the defensive. They know how bad this bill is for the American people. They know that Donald Trump is lying when he says it won't cut health care. I salute my colleague from North Carolina. We all heard what our colleague from North Carolina had to say yesterday about this bill. My guess is about half, maybe even more than half, of the Republicans in the Senate agree with him. But he had the courage to speak the truth. He said it himself. The bill devastates his state, but make no mistake about it, it will devastate the states of almost every Republican here. It is outrageous, outrageous to take food out of the mouths of hungry children, to take health care away from people who need it to survive.
Senator's time has expired.
Just for tax cuts for billionaires. and the American people know it. To my colleagues in
Senator's time has
conclusion-
expired.
To my colleagues in conclusion, I say you know what the right thing is. Say no to gutting health care. Say no to gutting jobs. Say no to this shameful,
The senator's time has expired.
backward bill, and vote yes on my
The chair
bill.
recognizes the senator from Idaho.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is going to be something that we hear just a lot of today, and this will just be the first shot at it. The bottom line is, billionaires are going to pay the same amount of taxes after this bill as they paid before this bill. They're going to pay the same amount. This notion about billionaires getting a tax cut at the expense of everybody else is just the politics of class rather than the politics of fear. The rest of the argument is the politics of fear. The reality is the reforms we are putting into place are to try to rein in control of wasteful and fraudulent and abusive spending that actually diverts resources away from the people who these programs really deserve to receive. I urge a strong no vote against this amendment.
Is there a sufficient second? There appears to be. Clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Alsobrooks. Ms. Baldwin. Mr. Banks. Thank you. Mr. Barrasso. Yep. Thank you. Mr. Bennett. Mrs. Blackburn, Mr. Blumenthal, Ms. Blunt Rochester, Mr. Booker, Mr. Bozeman, gotcha. Thank you. Mrs. Britt, Mr. Budd, Ms. Cantwell, Mrs. Capito, Mr. Cassidy, Ms. Collins, Mr. Coons, Mr. Cornyn, Ms. Cortez Masto, Mr. Cotton, Mr. Kramer, Mr. Crapo, Mr. Cruz, Mr. Daines, Ms. Duckworth, Mr. Durbin, thanks. Ms. Ernst, Mr. Fetterman, Mrs. Fisher, Mr. Gallego, Mrs. Gillibrand, Mr. Graham, Mr. Grassley, Mr. Haggerty, Ms. Hassan, Mr. Hawley, Mr. Heinrich, Mr. Hickenlooper, Ms. Hirono, Mr. Hoven, Mr. Husted, Mrs. Hyde-Smith, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Justice, Mr. Kane, Mr. Kelly, Mr. Kennedy, Mr. Kim, Mr. King, Ms. Klobuchar, Mr. Langford, Mr. Lee, Mr. Lujan, Ms. Lemus, Mr. Markey, Mr. Marshall, Mr. McConnell, Mr. McCormick, Mr. Merkley, Mrs. Moody, Mr. Moran, Mr. Marino, Mr. Mullen, Ms. Murkowski, Mr. Murphy, Mrs. Murray, Mr. Ossoff, Mr. Padilla, Mr. Paul, Mr. Peters, Mr. Reed, Mr. Ricketts, Mr. Risch, Ms. Rosen, Mr. Rounds, Mr. Sanders, Mr. Schatz, Mr. Schiff, Mr. Schmidt, Mr. Schumer, Mr. Scott of Florida, Mr. Scott of South Carolina, Mrs. Shaheen, Mr. Sheehy, Ms. Slotkin, Ms. Smith, Mr. Sullivan, Mr. Thune, Mr. Tillis, Mr. Tuberville, Mr. Van Hollen, Mr. Warner, Mr. Warnock, Ms. Warren, Mr. Welch, Mr. Whitehouse, Mr. Wicker, Mr. Wyden, Mr. Young, Senators voting in the affirmative. Also Brooks, Baldwin, Bennett, Blumenthal, Blunt Rochester, Duckworth, Durbin, Gallego, Hassan, Heinrich, Kane, Kim, King, Klobuchar, Lujan, Merkley, Murray, Padilla, Rosen, Sanders, Schatz, Schumer, Shaheen, Slotkin, Smith, Van Hollen, Warren, Welch, Whitehouse, and Wyden. Senators voting in the negative. Blackburn, Bozeman, Britt, Capito, Cassidy, Cornyn, Cotton, Kramer, Cruz, Curtis, Daines, Ernst, Fisher, Graham, Grassley, Haggerty, Hyde-Smith, Johnson, Kennedy, Langford, Lummis, Marshall, Moody, Moran, Paul, Ricketts, Schmidt, Sheehy, Sullivan, Thune, Tillis, Tuberville, and Young. Mr. Banks, no. Mr. Husted, no. Mr. Reed, aye. Mr. Peters, aye. Mr. Crapo, no. I'm going to have to study this. Mr. Budd, no. Mr. Hawley, no. Mr. Ossoff, aye. Mr. Mullen, no. Ms. Cortez Masto, aye. Mr. Hickenlooper, aye. Mr. Justice? No. Ms. Murkowski? No. Mr. Risch? No. Mr. Murphy? Aye. Ms. Hirono? Aye. Mr. Warnock, aye. Mr. Wicker, no. Mr. Sullivan? No. Oh. Mr. Markey? Aye. Mr. Rounds, no. Mr. Marino? No. Mr. Warner? Aye. Mr. McCormick? No. Mr. Schiff, aye. Mr. Lee? No. Ms. Cantwell? Aye. Mr. Barrasso, no. Mr. McConnell? No. Mr. Scott of South Carolina, no. Mr. Hoven, no. Mrs. Gillibrand, aye. Mr. Coons, aye. Ms. Collins, no. Mr. Scott of Florida, no. Mr. Fetterman, aye. Booker and Kelly. Mr. Booker, aye. Mr. Kelly, aye.
On this motion, the yeas are 47, the nays are 53. The motion is not agreed to. I recognize the senator from Massachusetts.
Mr. President, I have a motion to commit at the desk.
The clerk will report.
The senator from Massachusetts, Mr. Markey, moves to commit the bill H.R. 1 to the Committee on Finance of the Senate with instructions to report the same back to the Senate in 3 days.
I further ask further reading of the motion be dispensed with.
Without objection.
I rise today to cut any part of this big, ugly bill that would force rural hospitals to limit their services or actually close their doors. I have released a list of more than 300 rural hospitals across the country at risk of closing or stopping services because of any major cuts to Medicare and Medicaid. Today, that's what Republicans are guaranteeing. With a $1 trillion cut to our healthcare system, they would create in this bill. My Republican colleagues' so-called Medicaid Cuts Replacement Fund is like giving aspirin to a cancer patient. It is not enough. It is pathetically inadequate to deal with the health care crisis Republicans are creating here today on the Senate floor. No billionaire tax break or Donald Trump pat on the back is worth the risk of people's lives. Vote yes on this motion. Stop these health care cuts.
Mr. President.
I recognize the senator from Idaho.
Mr. President, more of the politics of fear. Rural hospitals and providers not only deliver essential health care services in their communities, but also strengthen local economies, employing hundreds of individuals and supporting regional business development. Unfortunately, for far too long, some rural hospitals have struggled to achieve financial stability, even with a wide range of targeted payment enhances. These issues predate the consideration of the reforms that we are including in the legislation today. Let me be clear. This amendment is intended to derail this very bill. The Finance Committee has a long tradition of coming together on bipartisan issues, like bolstering our rural health care system, and I look forward to working with all my colleagues to advance permanent solutions to provide rural providers from telehealth to innovative reimbursement models. Today, we need to pass this essential legislation, and I oppose this amendment.
The motion is on the motion. Is there a sufficient second? There appears to be. The clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Also Brooks. Ms. Baldwin. Mr. Banks. Mr. Brasso. Mr. Bennett. Mrs. Blackburn. Mr. Blumenthal.
Somebody will be up in just a second.
Okay. Ms. Blunt Rochester. Mr. Booker, Mr. Bozeman. Mrs. Britt, Mr. Budd. Ms. Cantwell. Mrs. Capito. Mr. Cassidy. Ms. Collins. Mr. Coons, Mr. Cornyn, Ms. Cortez Masto. Mr. Cotton, Mr. Kramer, Mr. Crapo, Mr. Cruz, Mr. Curtis, Mr. Daines, Ms. Duckworth, Mr. Durbin, Ms. Ernst. Mr. Fetterman. Mrs. Fisher. Mr. Gallego, Mrs. Gillibrand, Mr. Graham, Mr. Grassley, Mr. Haggerty, Ms. Hassan, Mr. Heinrich, Mr. Hickenlooper, Ms. Hirono, Mr. Hoven, Mr. Husted, Mrs. Hyde-Smith, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Justice, Mr. Kane, Mr. Kelly,
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Kennedy, Mr. Kim, Mr. King, Ms. Klobuchar, Mr. Langford, Mr. Lee, Mr. Lujan, Ms. Lummis, Mr. Markey, Mr. Marshall, Mr. McConnell, Mr. McCormick, Mr. Merkley, Mrs. Moody, Mr. Moran, Mr. Moreno, Mr. Mullen, Ms. Murkowski, Mr. Murphy, Mrs. Murray, Mr. Ossoff, Mr. Padilla, Mr. Paul, Mr. Reed, Mr. Ricketts, Mr. Risch, Ms. Rosen, Mr. Rounds, Mr. Sanders, Mr. Schatz, Mr. Schiff, Mr. Schmidt, Mr. Schumer, Mr. Scott of Florida, Mr. Scott of South Carolina, Mr. Shaheen, Mr. Sheehy, Ms. Slotkin, Ms. Smith, Mr. Sullivan, Mr. Thune, Mr. Tillis, Mr. Tuberville, Mr. Van Hollen, Mr. Warner, Mr. Warnock, Ms. Warren, Mr. Welch, Mr. Whitehouse, Mr. Wicker, Mr. Wyden, Mr. Young. Senators voting the affirmative: Also Brooks, Baldwin, Blumenthal, Blunt-Rochester, Booker, Cantwell, Coons, Cortez Masto, Duckworth, Durbin, Fetterman, Gallego, Gillibrand, Hassan, Heinrich, Hickenlooper, Hirono, Kane, Kim, King, Klobuchar, Lujan, Markey, Merkley, Murkowski, Ossoff, Padilla, Reed, Rosen, Sanders, Schatz, Schiff, Shaheen, Slotkin, Smith, Warner, Warren, Welch, Whitehouse, Wyden. Senators voting in the negative: Banks, Barrasso, Blackburn, Britt, Budd, Capito, Cornyn, Cotton, Kramer, Crapo, Cruz, Daines, Ernst, Fisher, Graham, Grassley, Haggerty, Husted, Hyde-Smith, Johnson, Justice, Kennedy, Lankford, Lee, Lummis, Marshall, Moody, Moran, Moreno, Mullen, Paul, Schmidt, Scott of Florida, Scott of South Carolina, Sheehy, Thune, Tillis, Tuberville, and Wicker. Mr. Bennett, aye. Mr. Peters, aye. Mr. Cassidy, no. Mr. Bozeman, no. Mr. Van Hollen, aye. Mr. Murphy, aye. Mrs. Murray, aye. Mr. Rounds. Mr. Rounds, no. Mr. Ricketts. Mr. Ricketts, no. Mr. Hawley. Mr. Hawley, no. Mr. Kelly, aye. Mr. Young, no. Mr. Schumer, aye. Mr. McCormick, Mr. McCormick, no. Mr. Hoven, no. Mr. Warnock. Mr. Warnock. Aye. Mr. McConnell. Mr. McConnell. No. Ms. Collins. Aye. Mr. Sullivan. Mr. Sullivan. No. Mr. Risch. No. Mr. Curtis. No.
On this vote, the yeas are 49, the nays are 51. The motion is not agreed to.
Mr. President.
I recognize the Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent that it be in order for the following senators to be recognized to offer amendments, motions, or points of order, that the amendments be reported by number with no amendments in order prior to a vote in relation to the amendments or motions. Wyden. Motion to commit. Coons. Motion to commit.
Without objection. I recognize the senator from Minnesota.
Mr. President, I make a point of order that the pending measure contains an unfunded intergovernmental mandate, and thus it violates Section 425A2 of the Congressional Budget Act of 1974. In nutrition assistance alone, this bill shifts tens of billions of dollars onto the states, creating chaos for state budgets and hardship for families. CBO score for this bill says this: the non-tax provisions of the substitute amendment would impose intergovernmental and private sector mandates as defined in the Unfunded Mandates Reform Act, and that the SNAP cost shift provisions would impose the largest intergovernmental mandates. Seriously, the largest shift in this whole bill, the largest unfunded mandate, is on the backs of kids and veterans and seniors and people with disabilities. $64 billion over to the states. 44 of them have balanced budget amendments. You know they can't pay for this. It's hurting local grocery stores. It's hurting our farmers. And it's all done to pay for tax cuts to the wealthy. I say to our colleagues, vote for families over billionaires, vote for fiscal sanity over this big, beautiful betrayal, and vote yes, this is an unfunded mandate.
I recognize the senator from Arkansas.
I rise to waive the point of order raised by my colleague from Minnesota. I urge my colleagues to vote to waive the point of order. In 2023, the SNAP payment error exceeded 11%, amounting to more than $10 billion in misspent taxpayer dollars. This underscores the need for stronger state accountability in administering this program. This title incentivizes states to be a better steward of taxpayer dollars, to use resources that are prioritized for those most in need. If a state's payment error is below 6%, that state is exempt from any share of the cost of SNAP benefits. This is a reasonable approach that will help preserve the integrity and long-term sustainability of the program. There is ample time for the states to adjust, plan, and budget for this to take effect in 2028. States can also work to lower their payment error rate over the next couple of years so that they would be exempt from the match altogether. I move to waive the point of order for the consideration of the pending legislation and ask for the yeas and nays.
Is there a sufficient second? There appears to be. The clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Alsor-Brooks, Ms. Baldwin. Johnson. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. Mr. Banks, Mr. Barrasso, Mr. Bennett, Mrs. Blackburn, Mr. Blumenthal, Ms. Blunt Rochester, Mr. Booker, Mr. Bozeman, Mrs. Britt, Mr. Budd, Ms. Cantwell, Mrs. Capito, Mr. Cassidy, Ms. Collins, Mr. Coons, Mr. Cornyn, Ms. Cortez Masto,
Sullivan, aye.
Bud, thank you. Mr. Cornyn, Ms. Cortez Masto, Mr. Cotton, Mr. Kramer, Mr. Crapo, Mr. Cruz, Mr. Curtis, Mr. Daines, Ms. Duckworth, Mr. Durbin, Ms. Ernst, Mr. Fetterman, Ms. Ernst, Mr. Fetterman, Mrs. Fisher, Mr. Gallego, Mrs. Gillibrand, Mr. Graham, Mr. Grassley, Mr. Haggerty, Ms. Hassan, Mr. Hawley, Mr. Heinrich, Mr. Hickenlooper, Ms. Hirono, Mr. Hoven, Mr. Husted, Mrs. Hyde-Smith, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Justice, Mr. Kane, Mr. Kelly, Mr. Kennedy, Mr. Kim, Mr. King, Ms. Klobuchar, Mr. Langford, Mr. Lee, Mr. Lujan, Ms. Lummis, Mr. Markey, Mr. Marshall, Mr. McConnell, Mr. McCormick, Mr. Merkley, Mr. Moody, Mrs. Moody, Mr. Moran, Mr. Moreno, Mr. Mullen, Ms. Murkowski, Mr. Murphy, Mrs. Murray, Mr. Ossoff, Mr. Padilla, Mr. Paul, Mr. Peters, Mr. Reed, Mr. Ricketts, Mr. Risch, Ms. Rosen, Mr. Rounds, Mr. Sanders, Mr. Schatz, Mr. Schiff, Mr. Schmidt, Mr. Schumer, Mr. Scott of Florida, Mr. Scott of South Carolina, Mrs. Shaheen, Mr. Sheehy, Ms. Slotkin, Ms. Smith, Mr. Sullivan, Mr. Thune, Mr. Tillis, Mr. Tuberville, Mr. Van Hollen, Mr. Murphy, Mrs. Murray, Mr. Ossoff, Mr. Padilla, Mr. Paul, Mr. Peters, Mr. Reed, Mr. Ricketts, Mr. Risch, Ms. Rosen, Mr. Rounds, Mr. Sanders, Mr. Schatz, Mr. Schiff, Mr. Schmidt, Mr. Schumer, Mr. Scott of Florida, Mr. Scott of South Carolina, Mrs. Shaheen, Mr. Sheehy, Ms. Slotkin, Ms. Smith, Mr. Sullivan, Mr. Thune, Mr. Tillis, Mr. Tuberville, Mr. Van Hollen, Mr. Warner, Mr. Warnock, Ms. Warren, Mr. Welch, Mr. Whitehouse, Mr. Wicker, Mr. Wyden, Mr. Young. Senators voting in the affirmative: Banks, Blackburn, Bozeman, Britt, Budd, Capito, Cassidy, Cornyn, Cotton, Kramer, Crapo, Cruz, Curtis, Daines, Ernst, Fisher, Graham, Grassley, Hoven, Husted, Johnson, Justice, Langford, Lee, Lummis, Marshall, McConnell, McCormick, Moody, Moran, Moreno, Mullen, Paul, Ricketts, Rounds, Schmidt, Scott of Florida, Sheehy, Sullivan, Thune, Tillis, Tuberville, and Young. Senators voting in the negative: Alsobrooks, Baldwin, Bennett, Blumenthal, Blunt-Rochester, Cortez Masto, Durbin, Gallego, Hassan, Heinrich, Hickenlooper, Hirono, Kane, Kelly, Kim, King, Klobuchar, Lujan, Markey, Merkley, Murkowski, Murphy, Murray, Ossoff, Padilla, Peters, Reed, Rosen, Sanders, Schatz, Schumer, Shaheen, Slotkin, Smith, Warner, Warnock, Warren, Welch, Whitehouse, and Wyden. Mr. Wicker, aye. Mrs. Height-Smith, aye. Ms. Collins, aye. Mr. Risch, aye. Mrs. Gillibrand, no. Mr. Coons, no. Ms. Duckworth, no. Mr. Schiff, no. Ms. Cantwell, no. Mr. Van Hollen, no. Mr. Hawley, aye. Mr. Fetterman, no. Mr. Kennedy, aye. Mr. Booker, no. Mr. Barrasso, aye. Mr. Haggerty, aye.
On this vote, the yeas are 51, the nays are 48. The motion is agreed to.
President.
I recognize the senator from Oregon.
Mr. President, I have a motion to commit at the desk.
The clerk will report.
Senator from Oregon, Mr. Wyden, moves to commit the bill H.R. 1 to the Committee on Finance with instructions to report back forthwith.
Mr. President, I ask that further reading of the motion be dispensed with.
Without objection.
Mr. President, this is a motion supported by all Finance Democrats to send the bill back to the Finance Committee to strike all the Medicaid cuts and ensure that big corporations and the ultra-wealthy pay their fair share in taxes. It is now clear that there is bipartisan opposition in the Senate to the Medicaid cuts in this bill. That's because it's the biggest Medicaid cut in history and represents the largest transfer of wealth in history. It is caviar over kids, hedge funds over health care, Mar-a-Lago over the middle class. These Medicaid cuts are going to reach down into every corner of our nation's health care system. As we've heard from rural America, rural hospitals will close their doors. Seniors are going to lose care at home and be left with fewer nursing homes and fewer nurses. Kids with disabilities will lose health care. We saw them on the steps of the Capitol last night. Never have I seen legislation
Senator's time's expired.
focused on denying health care to eligible Americans.
Senator's time is
an
expired.
opportunity to take these awful Medicaid cuts off the table and find another way forward. I yield back.
Mr. President.
I recognize the senator from Kansas.
Mr. President, good morning. It's great to be here. I just want to share with America the great work that Republicans have done on Medicaid, that we're preserving it, we're protecting it, we're strengthening it for those who need it the most. We're going to make sure that your seniors in nursing homes, that pregnant women, that children, that people on disabilities have Medicaid in the future. We are fiscally making Medicaid more sound. You know, it's only in Washington, D.C. that you increase spending at a rate faster than inflation, and you call it a cut. So we're increasing spending on this legislation. We're increasing funding for Medicaid. We are preserving and protecting it for those who need it the most. I urge everyone to vote no on this amendment. Thank you. Are you?
The questions on the motion. Is there a sufficient second? There appears to be. The clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Also-Rooks, Ms. Baldwin. Mr. Banks, Mr. Barrasso, Mr. Bennett. Mrs. Blackburn, Mr. Blumenthal, Ms. Blunt Rochester, Mr. Booker, Mr. Bozeman, Mrs. Britt, Mr. Budd, Ms. Cantwell, Mrs. Capito, Mr. Cassidy, Ms. Collins, Mr. Coons, Mr. Cornyn. Ms. Cortez Masto. Mr. Cotton, Mr. Kramer, Mr. Crapo, Mr. Cruz. Mr. Cruz, Mr. Curtis, Mr. Daines, Ms. Duckworth, Mr. Durbin, Ms. Ernst, Mr. Fetterman, Mrs. Fisher, Mr. Gallego, Mrs. Gillibrand, Mr. Graham, Mr. Grassley. Mr. Haggerty, Ms. Hassan, Mr. Hawley, Mr. Heinrich, Mr. Hickenlooper, Ms. Hirono, Mr. Hoven, Mr. Husted, Mrs. Hyde-Smith, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Justice, Mr. Kane, Mr. Kelly, Mr. Kennedy, Mr. Kim, Mr. King. Ms. Klobuchar, Mr. Langford, Mr. Lee, Mr. Lujan, Ms. Lummis, Mr. Markey, Mr. Marshall, Mr. McConnell, Mr. McCormick, Mr. Merkley, Mrs. Moody, Mr. Moran, Mr. Marino, Mr. Mullen, Ms. Murkowski, Mr. Murphy, Mrs. Murray, Mr. Ossoff, Mr. Padilla, Mr. Paul, Mr. Peters, Mr. Reed, Mr. Ricketts, Mr. Risch, Ms. Rosen, Mr. Rounds. Ms. Rosen, Mr. Rounds, Mr. Sanders, Mr. Schatz, Mr. Schiff, Mr. Schmidt, Mr. Schumer, Mr. Scott of Florida. Mr. Schmidt, Mr. Schumer, Mr. Scott of Florida, Mr. Scott of South Carolina, Mrs. Shaheen, Mr. Sheehy, Ms. Slotkin, Ms. Smith, Mr. Sullivan, Mr. Thune, Mr. Tillis, Mr. Tuberville, Mr. Van Hollen, Mr. Warner, Mr. Warnock, Ms. Warren, Mr. Welch, Mr. Whitehouse, Mr. Wicker, Mr. Wyden, Mr. Young. Senators voting in the affirmative: Alsobrooks, Baldwin, Bennett, Blunt Rochester, Booker, Cantwell, Fetterman, Gallego, Gillibrand, Hassan, Heinrich, Hickenlooper, Kim, King, Klobuchar, Lujan, Markey, Murphy, Murray, Padilla, Peters, Reed, Rosen, Sanders, Schiff, Schumer, Shaheen, Slotkin, Van Hollen, Warner, Warren, Welch, and Wyden. Senators voting in the negative: Banks, Barrasso, Blackburn, Britt, Budd, Capito, Cassidy, Collins, Cornyn, Cotton, Kramer, Crapo, Cruz, Curtis, Daines, Ernst, Fisher, Graham, Haggerty, Hoven, Husted, Justice, Kennedy, Langford, Marshall, McCormick, Moody, Moran, Mullen, Murkowski, Paul, Ricketts, Risch, Rounds, Schmidt, Scott of Florida, Scott of South Carolina, Sheehy, Thune, Tillis, Tuberville, and Young. Mr. Blumenthal, aye. Mr. Bozeman, no. Mr. Lee, no. Mrs. Hyde-Smith, no. Mr. Durbin, aye. Mr. Marino, aye. Mr. Merkley, Mr. Marino, no. Mr. Merkley, aye. Ms. Cortez Masto, aye. Mr. Sullivan, no. Mr. Coons, aye. Mr. Johnson, no. Mr. Wicker, no. Ms. Hirono, aye. Mr. Whitehouse, aye. Mr. Ossoff, aye. Mr. Schatz, aye. Ms. Duckworth, aye. Ms. Smith, aye. Mr. Kane, aye. Mr. Grassley. Mr. Grassley, no. Mr. Kelly. Mr. Kelly, aye. Mr. Hawley. Mr. Hawley, no. Mr. McConnell. Mr. McConnell, no. Ms. Lummis. Ms. Lummis, no. Mr. Warnock. Mr. Warnock, aye.
Two seconds. On this motion, the yeas are 47, the nays are 53. The motion is not agreed to. I recognize the senator from Delaware.
Mr. President, I have a motion to commit at the desk.
The clerk will report it.
The senator from Delaware, Mr. Coons, moves to commit the bill H.R. 1 to the Committee on Finance with instructions to report back forthwith.
Mr. President, I ask further reading of the motion be dispensed with.
Without objection.
Colleagues, the ugly truth about this so-called big, beautiful bill is that it will kick 17 million Americans off their health care. This bill cuts almost $1 trillion from Medicaid and other health care programs by tying people up in red tape. Republicans will tell you they're trying to improve Medicaid, but the truth is they're not. It is cruel and dishonest to bury parents, kids, and seniors in paperwork and then blame them when they lose their health care, all to further rig our tax code for the very wealthiest. This week, I met with 30 nurses from Delaware. Their patients couldn't come to D.C., so they did. They care for seniors and newborns, families, and the disabled. And their ask to us, don't take health care away from tens of thousands of Delawareans and millions of Americans. Colleagues, support this Coons amendment to eliminate cruel and unnecessary red tape and allow Americans to keep the health care they need and deserve.
When this is done.
Mr. President,
I recognize the senator from Kansas.
as I look at this, the senator's motion is on work requirements. You know, back home we had a saying for people that had an aversion to work. We called it an allergy to work. But my question is, don't you think a job brings value, that it brings dignity? Do you not think that a job brings purpose and meaning to life? We have 7 million healthy American men across this country, working age, that aren't working right now. So yes, we want to encourage people to go back to work, but our bill, as you point out, actually preserves and protects it for those groups. Our bill makes this stronger, financially stronger, so that we can protect it and strengthen it for seniors in nursing homes, for people with disabilities, for pregnant women, and for children. Let's protect Medicaid for those who need it the most. I urge a no vote on this, and I'll never apologize for encouraging people to go to work.
The question occurs on the motion. Is there a sufficient second? There appears to be. The clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Alser-Brooks, Ms. Baldwin, Mr. Banks, Mr. Barrasso, Mr. Bennett, Mrs. Blackburn, Mr. Blumenthal, Ms. Blunt-Rochester, Mr. Booker, Mr. Bozeman, Mrs. Britt, Mr. Budd, Ms. Cantwell, Mrs. Capito, Mr. Cassidy, Ms. Collins, Mr. Coons, Mr. Cornyn, Ms. Cortez Masto, Mr. Cotton, Mr. Kramer, Mr. Crapo, Mr. Cruz, Mr. Curtis, Mr. Daines, Ms. Cantwell, Mrs. Capito, Mr. Cassidy, Ms. Collins, Mr. Cornyn, Ms. Cortez Masto, Mr. Cotton, Mr. Kramer, Mr. Crapo, Mr. Cruz, Mr. Curtis, Mr. Daines, Ms. Duckworth, Mr. Durbin, Ms. Ernst, Mr. Fetterman, Mrs. Fisher, Mr. Gallego, Mrs. Gillibrand, Mr. Graham, Mr. Grassley, Mr. Haggerty, Ms. Hassan, Mr. Hawley, Mr. Heinrich, Mr. Hickenlooper, Ms. Hirono, Mr. Hoven, Mr. Husted, Mrs. Hyde-Smith, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Justice, Mr. Justice, Mr. Kane, Mr. Kelly, Mr. Kennedy, Mr. Kim, Mr. King, Ms. Klobuchar, Mr. Langford, Mr. Lee, Mr. Lujan, Ms. Lummis, Mr. Markey, Mr. Marshall, Mr. McConnell, Mr. McCormick, Mr. Merkley, Mrs. Moody, Mr. Moran, Mr. Marino, Mr. Merkley, Mrs. Moody, Mr. Moran, Mr. Marino, Mr. Mullen, Ms. Murkowski, Ms. Murkowski, Mr. Murphy, Mrs. Murray, Mr. Ossoff, Mr. Padilla, Mr. Paul, Mr. Peters, Mr. Reed, Mr. Ricketts, Mr. Risch, Ms. Rosen, Mr. Rounds, Mr. Sanders, Mr. Schatz, Mr. Schiff, Mr. Schmidt, Mr. Schumer, Mr. Scott of Florida, Mr. Scott of South Carolina, Mrs. Shaheen, Mr. Sheehy, Ms. Slotkin, Ms. Smith, Mr. Sullivan, Mr. Thune, Mr. Tillis, Mr. Tuberville, Mr. Van Hollen, Mr. Warner, Mr. Warnock, Ms. Warren, Mr. Welch, Mr. Whitehouse, Mr. Wicker, Mr. Wyden, Mr. Young. Senators voting in the affirmative: also Brooks, Bennett, Blumenthal, Blunt-Rochester, Cantwell, Coons, Cortez Masto, Durbin, Fetterman, Gallego, Hickenlooper, Hirono, Kane, Kelly, Kim, King, Klobuchar, Lujan, Merkley, Murkowski, Murphy, Murray, Ossoff, Peters, Reed, Rosen, Schiff, Schumer, Shaheen, Slotkin, Smith, Van Hollen, Warner, Warnock, Warren, Welch, Whitehouse, and Wyden. Senators voting in the negative: Banks, Bozeman, Britt, Budd, Cotton, Crapo, Cruz, Curtis, Ernst, Graham, Haggerty, Hawley, Husted, Johnson, Kennedy, Lee, Lummis, Marshall, McConnell, Moody, Moran, Paul, Ricketts, Risch, Rounds, Scott of South Carolina, Sullivan, Thune, Tillis, and Tuberville. Ms. Baldwin, aye. Mr. Sanders, aye. Mr. Barrasso, no. Ms. Hassan, aye. Mr. McCormick, no. Mr. Sheehy, no. Mrs. Blackburn, no. Mr. Cassidy, no. Mrs. Hyde-Smith, no. Ms. Duckworth, aye. Mr. Daines, no. Mr. Heinrich, aye. Mr. Padilla, aye. Mr. Schmidt, no. I'm just going to put this one in here. This is the previous one. And I can help get the second one ready, just kind of depends on where we are. Oh, that's why I can't put this in there because it's their thing. Oh, whoops. Mr. Markey, aye. Mr. Langford, no. Mr. Marino, no. Mrs. Fisher, no. Ms. Collins, no. Mr. Cornyn, no. Mrs. Gillibrand, aye. Mr. Kramer, no. Mr. Schatz, aye. Mr. Scott of Florida, no. Mr. Hoven, no. Mr. Young, no. Mr. Justice, no. Mr. Booker, aye. Mr. Wicker, no. Mr. Crapo, Mr. Grassley, no. Mrs. Capito, no. Mr. Mullen. Mr. Mullen, no.
On this motion, the yeas are 48, the nays are 52. The motion is not agreed to.
Mr. President.
I recognize the Majority Whip.
Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent that to be in order for the following senators to be recognized to offer amendments, motions, or points of order, that the amendments be reported by number, with no amendments in order prior to a vote in relation to the amendments on the motion or motions. Number 1, Lujan, motion to commit. Number 2, Reed, motion to commit.
Without objection.
Yield the floor.
I recognize the senator from New Mexico.
I have a motion to commit at the desk.
The clerk will report.
Senator from New Mexico, Mr. Lujan, moves to commit the bill H.R. 1 to the Committee on Finance with instructions to report back forthwith.
Mr. President, recently a Republican colleague said regarding this bill's SNAP cuts, quote, "If we don't watch out, people are going to get hurt." He's right. People are going to get hurt. For the past 50 years, the United States of America has maintained a bipartisan promise to feed our children, our veterans, our seniors, and our working families. This bill betrays that promise. It cuts more than $1 trillion from Medicaid, SNAP, cuts that will harm all of our constituents. With this motion, I'm offering my colleagues the opportunity to step away from these devastating cuts, to show our fellow Americans that in this country, we care for our friends, family, and neighbors who need support. I hope my colleagues on both sides of the aisle can agree that this is a promise worth keeping. I yield back.
Mr. President.
I recognize the senator from Arkansas.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise in opposition to the motion raised by my colleague from New Mexico. The agriculture title of this bill takes a practical approach to improve SNAP by reducing waste, enhancing accountability, and encouraging recipients to move toward self-reliance through work and training. SNAP spending has nearly doubled since 2018, putting this vital program on an unsustainable path wrought with mismanagement and waste. This program has devolved into viewing success as enrolling more individuals to be dependent on government assistance. SNAP is long overdue for change. This motion would jeopardize the ability for the Senate to meet its reconciliation instructions and deliver the President's agenda to the American people. I urge my colleagues to vote no.
Is there a sufficient second? There appears to be. The clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Alsobrooks, Ms. Baldwin. Mr. Banks, Mr. Barrasso, Mr. Bennett, Mrs. Blackburn, Mr. Blumenthal, Ms. Blood Rochester, Mr. Booker. Mr. Booker, Mr. Bozeman, Mrs. Britt, Mr. Budd, Ms. Cantwell, Mrs. Capito, Mr. Cassidy, Ms. Collins, Mr. Coons, Mr. Cornyn, Ms. Cortez Masto. Mr. Cotton, Mr. Kramer, Mr. Crapo, Mr. Cruz, Mr. Curtis, Mr. Daines, Ms. Duckworth, Mr. Durbin, Ms. Ernst, Mr. Fetterman, Mrs. Fisher, Mr. Gallego, Mrs. Gillibrand, Mr. Graham, Mr. Grassley, Mr. Haggerty, Ms. Hassan, Mr. Hawley, Mr. Heinrich, Mr. Hickenlooper, Ms. Hirono, Mr. Hovind, Mr. Husted, Mrs. Hyde-Smith, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Justice, Mr. Kane, Mr. Kelly, Mr. Kennedy, Mr. Kim, Mr. King, Ms. Klobuchar, Mr. Langford, Mr. Lee, Mr. Lujan, Ms. Lummis, Mr. Markey, Mr. Marshall, Mr. McConnell, Mr. McCormick, Mr. Merkley, Mrs. Moody, Mr. Moran, Mr. Marino, Mr. Mullen, Ms. Murkowski, Mr. Murphy, Mr. Murphy, Mrs. Murray, Mr. Ossoff, Mr. Padilla, Mr. Paul, Mr. Peters, Mr. Reed, Mr. Ricketts, Mr. Risch. Ms. Rosen, Mr. Rounds, Mr. Sanders, Mr. Schatz, Mr. Schiff, Mr. Schmidt, Mr. Schumer, Mr. Scott of Florida, Mr. Scott of South Carolina, Mrs. Shaheen, Mr. Sheehy, Ms. Slotkin, Ms. Smith, Mr. Sullivan. Mr. Sullivan, Mr. Thune, Mr. Tillis, Mr. Tuberville, Mr. Van Hollen, Mr. Warner, Mr. Warnock, Ms. Warren, Mr. Welch, Mr. Whitehouse, Mr. Wicker, Mr. Wyden, Mr. Young. Senators voting in the affirmative: Alsobrooks, Baldwin, Bennett, Blumenthal, Blunt Rochester, Booker, Cantwell, Coons, Durbin, Fetterman, Gallego, Hassan, Hirono, Kelly, Kim, Klobuchar, Lujan, Merkley, Murphy, Murray, Padilla, Peters, Reed, Rosen, Sanders, Schatz, Schiff, Schumer, Shaheen, Slotkin, Smith, Van Hollen, Warner, Warnock, Welch, Whitehouse, and Wyden. Senators voting in the negative: Banks, Barrasso, Blackburn, Britt, Capito, Collins, Cornyn, Cotton, Kramer, Crapo, Cruz, Curtis, Daines, Ernst, Fisher, Graham, Grassley, Haggerty, Hawley, Hoven, Husted, Hyde-Smith, Johnson, Kennedy, Langford, Marshall, McConnell, McCormick, Moody, Moran, Marino, Mullen, Paul, Ricketts, Rounds, Schmidt, Scott of Florida, Sheehy, Tillis, and Wicker. Mr. Heinrich, Mr. Heinrich, aye. Mr. King, aye. Mr. Cassidy, no. Mr. Tuberville, no. Mr. Kane, aye. Mr. Ossoff, aye. Mr. Bozeman, no. Mr. Budd, no. Mr. Scott. Mr. Scott of South Carolina, no. Ms. Duckworth. Ms. Duckworth, aye. Mr. Lee. Mr. Lee, no. Mr. Justice. Mr. Justice, no.